Buying a refurbished iPhone can be a good way to save some cash and still get a really good phone. However, not all refurbished iPhones are made the same, and where you buy from can make a significant difference. So for today's video, I've bought two refurbished iPhones, one from Apple directly, this is from their certified refurbished store, and the other comes from Amazon. Now in this video, I'm going to take a look and see how these two compare, both in terms of the quality of the phone, as well as the warranty that you get, and also the prices to ultimately figure out which of the two is the best, whether to buy from Amazon or from Apple. And as always, I will leave all the purchase links down in the description. When it came to choosing which model iPhone to buy, I needed to find one that was available both on Apple as well as on Amazon, and ultimately came down to the iPhone 12 Pro. Taking a look here at Apple's official refurbished store, you can find not just iPhones, also Macs, iPads, and even Apple Watches, but stock is really limited, so things do come and go very quickly. But this here is the iPhone that I purchased. So you can see I have an iPhone 12 Pro with 128 gigabytes in graphite, SIM-free, meaning you can use any carrier, for a price of £589, which is around $730, which is not cheap. But according to the website here, you do get an entirely new shell, basically a new exterior for the phone, as well as a new battery, which may be worth paying extra for. Over on Amazon, it seems options for refurbished iPhones, at least here in the UK, are near limitless. You get many more storage options as well as colors available, even older models. I was able to find, for example, an iPhone 8, way too old. Today we're looking for a 12 Pro, and this is the one I ended up buying. So this is a 12 Pro with also 128 gigabytes, this time in Pacific Blue, also SIM-free, so it is unlocked, but this time for a price of £348 or $440. So this is a fair bit cheaper, and it'll be very interesting to see how the condition compares to that of Apple. Now here you have a grading that says excellent. Very curious to see what that translates to in the real world. Okay, so now it is time to unbox both of these phones. Now, both actually only took 1 day to deliver, so that was really great to see. Very fast shipping, at least to me here in London. Of course, it will vary depending on your region, but let's go ahead and unbox the phones here. Let's start off with the Amazon. I think that's the one I'm most curious about, so let's go ahead and take a look. Now, at first, I was a little bit curious as to the packaging here. So you have this interesting Earn Your Stripes tiger-like packaging. It also appears this may have been opened before. The pull tab is missing, but we do have some tape here. So interesting package. Not just from the exterior, but also in the branding and the condition. So anyway, let's go ahead and see what we get inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I can just pull this. There we go. And let's see what we get inside. So lifting open the lid here. And here we go. Okay, interesting. So thank you for your order. Next day delivery, I did have that. 12-month warranty or 13-month warranty. That's actually kind of interesting. We also have excellent rating on Trustpilot. Interesting. Never heard of this company before. I guess they must partner with Amazon, as this was, again, purchased directly through the Amazon store. So let's see what is included. So first we have a little card here. Thank you for your order. We get a pen. That is already a £100 extra value right there. Very nice to see. And then also we get the phone over here on the right. But I'm very curious to see, we also get a wall plug, which is great. This is a 5-watt, I believe. Yeah, this appears to be Apple's 5-watt brick, although I don't think this is actually Apple's. This may be from a third party. It doesn't look like Apple's, but should still be a good starting point. If you don't have a plug, at least you get one in the box. And then here we have a USB-A to Lightning cable. Let's take a look here. Oh, and we also have a SIM ejector tool, very useful to have. So looking at this cable here, this does appear to be an Apple cable, I would say. Quality looks really good, and I would say this looks new, definitely unused. It's almost like they took this from an official Apple box, iPhone box, and just kind of plumped it in here, but good to have as a starting point. Of course, USB-A, meaning it will be compatible with the brick that is provided. Right, so putting that off to the side, the important part here is the phone itself. So let's see what we get, and there it is, wrapped in this really interesting sticker here. So let's move this off, and here we have the iPhone itself. So this is, again, the 12 Pro. I've actually never had an iPhone 12 Pro. I had an iPhone 13 and an iPhone 11, but never had the Pro, and here it is. Okay, let's take a closer look. So first of all, love the color, but that's not really the point of this video, but really do like this blue color. But let's take a look at the condition. So all in all, impressions here are not bad. Let me grab my cleaning cloth here, and we're going to do a thorough inspection. We'll do a comparison, of course, side by side, make sure there's no scratches on the display or anything like that. But just based off my first impressions, looking around the phone, this looks pretty great. Yeah, I can just see I can see a little bit of marks here around the camera lenses, one of them, particularly here, this one at the bottom. If you look very closely, you can see a little bit of marks, almost as if it were, you know, from a table or something. But other than that, I see nothing major. Looking at the back, based on my first impressions, not bad. Buttons are clicky. Let's go in and see if it boots up. I doubt it will. I don't know if it has power. Let's see here. Oh, it boots up. There we go. We got an Apple logo, so that's always a good sign. Of course, we're also going to be booting up both of these phones. I'm very curious to see how things like the speakers compare, the cameras, and of course the battery health, as that is something that's a bit more of a question mark with this Amazon phone. So we'll see how that goes. But based on my initial impressions, you get the phone, you get the charging cable, the wall plug, of course the SIM ejector tool, and of course that very valuable pen. So we get quite a lot of things included, enough basically to get started and to really start using the phone. And again, based on my first impressions, the condition here, it's described as excellent, and so far this looks to be pretty great. But let's see what Apple has to offer. And here we have Apple's box. So interestingly, just based on my impressions, Apple's box is a little bit heavier compared to the Amazon box. So we'll see why that is. But let's go ahead and open this up here. Voila. All right, let's lift it up and see what is inside. Here we go. All right, iPhone 12 Pro, really nice presentation. Wow, okay, so it's actually wrapped in plastic as well. We get this little pull tab here. This takes me back to the iPhone 10. I remember that phone had a pull tab like this too. But really interesting. This doesn't feel like I'm unboxing a refurbished product. It almost just feels like a regular new iPhone, which is really quite cool. I guess the only thing that's missing is the picture of the iPhone on the front. I guess that's how they save the cost. No, but we get the iPhone 12 branding here, and then Apple certified pre-owned. Interesting that it's not called refurbished, but called pre-owned. Wonder what that means. Let's unbox and see what this looks like. There we go. All right, put this off to the side. And here we go. Let's lift it up. Wow. Wow. All right. Is this a new phone? This almost looks exactly new. I can't believe it. Here we go. Lifting up the little lid here. I'm kind of in awe. This is, the first thought that comes to mind is this a refurbished phone, or is this like old stock that they couldn't sell that are now repackaging as a refurbished model? Because this looks pretty flawless. Anyway, let's put that off to the side and see what else we get included. So this looks very similar to any other iPhone. So we have the manual here on the top. We get your SIM ejector tool. Interestingly, this is actually a little bit different from the standard SIM ejector tool. This one, it looks a little bit, it's not as flat. I don't know, there's a small difference between them. Interesting that they wouldn't just include the same one, but I guess they have a specific one here for refurbished models. You get the Apple sticker. Amazon, of course, does not have the Apple sticker. And then we have the lightning cable. So interestingly, this is, of course, a USB-C to lightning cable, where on Amazon we had a USB-A to lightning cable. And that's because on Amazon we do have a wall plug, which here with Apple you don't get. So that is kind of a point for Amazon, but Amazon doesn't give you the USB-C cable, which may be better. I think today in 2024, I'd prefer to have a USB-C cable, even if that means not getting a wall brick. Right, so let's put this off to the side and take a look at the phone. So here we go. Let's pull the plastic here. Voila. All right, let's boot it up. And again, I am really impressed by the physical condition of this phone. Just looking across the side here, let's make sure those shiny rails don't have any scratches on them. Looks flawless to me. Of course, the website does say that we'll have an entirely new shell. So this means the exterior of the phone is entirely new, and importantly, also the battery. And this I do think is quite important for the longer term. If you want to use the phone for many years, which I think most people do. And I think these days, more than ever, phones can definitely last quite long. But just looking around the phone, the condition looks flawless. Again, I'm just wondering whether this is a new phone, not actually refurbished, because it looks great. Everything looks great. The screen, no scratches whatsoever. Color, again, no dents, nothing here on the camera. The camera modules, the lenses also look great. But let's go ahead and compare the two now side by side and see what the conditions are like. Okay, so I've got both phones unboxed and side by side here on the table. Let's go ahead and compare the two and see what the physical condition looks like and how these two compare. So first of all, one of the things I checked was to see whether there were any scratches on the display. This for me, I think, is a really important thing to make sure there are none. And I have thoroughly checked both of these phones. I've cleaned them down properly, and I've also gone through with my light and actually found that neither phone has any scratches on the display. So it does appear that the glass covering the display is at least new or completely unscratched on both phones. This is really important. Now, as for the frame, things get a little bit differently. So if we look at the very shiny stainless steel frame here of the iPhone 12 Pros here, I did find that on the Apple one, things are completely flawless. Again, zero signs of use, scratches, or any kind of, not even dust or fingerprints. This was truly new when it came out of the box, at least from appearance. On the Amazon phone though, there are some minor imperfections that you do see. So if we take a closer look here at the ring switch, first of all, you can see quite a buildup of dust inside. So I think that is pocket lint, or again, a sign of use. And then also there are some scratches on the actual switch itself, interestingly enough. And then if we take a look at the bottom of the phone here, I noticed that the Amazon phone had quite a lot, and you can still see some of it, quite a lot of what looks like residue or something like that of like stickers or whatever was here before around the speaker. I think you can still even see some of it here on camera, and I tried my best to get all of it off. I got some of it, but definitely not everything. And secondly, if we look inside the lightning port, you'll see a lot of buildup of dust. Again, pocket lint, things like this inside the Amazon phone. You get none of that on the Apple iPhone. This truly looks just like a new phone. If you handed this phone to me, the one from Apple, and told me this was new right out of the box, I think I'd believe you. This, from a physical condition perspective, looks brand new. Where the Amazon one, to be fair though, I think still looks really great. Now, the condition itself is described as excellent, and I too would describe this as excellent, as the only blemishes or drawbacks that I could see are admittedly very minor. Again, we have a little bit going around the frame, particularly here around the mute switch toggle, inside the lightning port itself, and then finally a little bit of scratches here going around the camera lens, but importantly not on the camera lens itself. So I've thoroughly checked this, and it's just going right around the lens. I think you can see this here right on the top, very small marks that have probably occurred from like placing the phone down on a table, but other than that, the phones are perfect, with no scratches on the displays on either, no scratches on the back, again excluding the camera module here. So very minor marks on the Amazon one. Again, I would describe this as excellent, but the Apple one though, I would describe as new. So I've just set up both phones and I've got them both on charge as well, as the Amazon phone actually came with quite a little bit of battery. It was below 20% when I started, and the Apple iPhone had a little bit more. So they're both on charge and both fully set up in the identical way. The displays here, I would say, look really good on both. We'll do a more detailed comparison in a sec. I do want to check for burn-in, particularly on the Amazon phone here. But for now, let's take a look at the battery health. This is something I've really been thinking about throughout this video, as on the Apple iPhone, that's the one here on the left. Again, that's the darker one here, the space gray one. That particular model will come with a new battery, so we should have 100% battery health. So let's go ahead and take a look here in settings. We're going to scroll to battery, and then we're going to click on battery health. And as you can see, maximum capacity is at 100%. So this is really good to see. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Let's take a look here by comparison over on Amazon. Let's go into battery here in settings. There we go. And then we're going to click on battery health and charging, and also at 100% battery health. And this is really great to see. So turns out that both batteries are actually at 100% capacity. This is really great to see, as what that means is it means your battery is going to be able to use all of its capacity and give you the best battery life possible. Great, so very happy to know that the battery health on both phones is at 100%. Now, when it comes to the display, something I did notice while setting up the phones was that the temperature of the display was not identical. So it almost appeared to my eyes as if the display on Apple's iPhone was a little bit cooler, where the one on Amazon was a little bit warmer. So I waited to set up the phone, and now let's go ahead and compare, because here we have the option now to make sure that things like True Tone and Night Shift are off. You can see they are both off here on both phones. Both also have auto brightness turned off, so just double check here. Turn off auto brightness.
Auto brightness is already turned off.
Very good. One is female, one is male. That's great. So as you can see, auto brightness is off, True Tone is off, as well as Night Shift. But if I open up the settings app here, and particularly here in this screen where you get a lighter backdrop, you can see that the temperature is not identical. Now, it's not a major concern, as the differences aren't major, and I do hope this picks up on camera, but I do see it in person, especially when I have both side by side. Now, to figure out which is more accurate or which is more the way it should be, I actually pulled out my iPhone 15 and Pro Max here, and as you can see, if I go ahead and turn off Night Shift and True Tone, you can see that having them side by side, This one again is a little bit different. So I would say the 15 Pro Max kind of falls between the 12 Pro from Apple and the 12 Pro from Amazon. So this tells me that some variation in the temperature of the display may be normal and may be part of the OLED manufacturing process. I'm not sure if Apple also uses multiple suppliers. I know Samsung will be their main supplier. Maybe different factories play a role as well. But all in all, it's not something I would be too concerned about, especially because the 15 Pro here, non-refurbished, has a slightly different temperature to both phones. All right, so the next thing I want to look for is burn-in. Now, burn-in is something that can occur on any OLED display where essentially a portion of the screen, for example, text or an icon, can become permanently imprinted in the screen if left on it for an extended period of time at, say, high brightness. Now, unfortunately, all OLED displays are prone to this, and this includes the OLED displays on the iPhone 12s or even more recent iPhones. And a great way to check for this is to pull up a gray backdrop like this, where I'm going to zoom in on both, and we're going to turn up the brightness to 100% on each, and we're going to take a closer look here at particularly the corners and the bottom of the display, as these are the most likely areas to potentially burn in over time. So I'm going to take a close look at each phone here, and it looks like neither has any signs of burn in. So I'm looking here at the volume, or at the bar here to swipe home, this bar here. I'm looking at the clock in the top left, as well as the battery icon here in the top right. And if I go ahead and compare both here, it looks like neither have any signs of burn in, and that's really good to see, as this will mean that the displays are in good condition. Now let's take a look at the cameras here. So I've got the selfie camera on both phones. Let's go into photo mode here and let's compare the two. And yeah, I would say both look good. Let's see an exposure adjustment here going from the lighter backdrop to my face. Both seem to do that very quickly. Let's take a look at the back cameras here. Let's bring a subject on screen. Let's say my iPhone. And let's start off with the Amazon phone here. I'm just gonna move further from the room and then down. Make sure the focus is good. Zoom in. Make sure all lenses are found, including the ultra wide, of course, and the 3x telephoto, or rather the 2x. And here we go. So the same thing over on Apple's phone here. Looking good. All cameras are visible. Go ahead and zoom out. Back onto the phone. And yes, so it seems to be that both cameras are working as they should. Both are adjusting the exposure as well as the focus very easily, or rather quickly. And if I go into video mode here, let's make sure the stabilization is functioning as well. So let's bring this back to the back camera, and let's give this, start off with the Amazon phone here, give it a bit of a shake. Yeah, I can definitely see the OIS, the optical image stabilization, kicking in there. And here over on the Apple iPhone here, looks great too. Image is very smooth, surprisingly so actually, because this is quite an old phone and these cameras still look really great. And that's where, of course, buying refurbished can be a great way to save some cash as opposed to buying a more recent Pro model, like of course the 15 Pro. But this is not a comparison video between the two, as very different phones. More specifically though, going back to both of these phones here, we can see that the camera on both seems to be functioning really well. Up next, I want to compare the speaker quality. So starting off with Apple's iPhone from the Apple certified refurbished store is, however, $100 more expensive, coming in at $1,299 versus $1,199. Okay. It sounds great. I hear audio coming both from the bottom speaker as well as the earpiece speaker, so you get that stereo sound, of course, as it should be. I also hear no distortion, no kinds of hissing, and the audio sounds as it should be. Now let's go ahead and see how the Amazon iPhone compares. So in the hand, I also found the 15 Pro Max to be more comfortable to use and hold. Both sound great. I would say the Amazon iPhone sounds identical to that of the Apple iPhone. That's really good to see at the same volumes. Again, no distortions on both, none of that. Both speakers are working on both phones, so the speakers here are great. So which phone is best? Well, let's go back to the three questions I asked at the start of the video, and the first of which is which phone offers best quality? Now, in this case, this definitely goes to the iPhone from Apple, as this really feels like a new phone, not just in the phone itself, but also in the unboxing experience, the presentation, the accessories included, all is pretty much brand new, and the same with the phone from the outside. This is a new phone, and you cannot, you really can't mistake it for anything else, so definitely get some extra credit for that. However, I will say that the condition of the phone from Amazon was definitely better than I expected, as the only complaints really when it comes to this are very minor. Again, you get a tiny little sign of use, whether that be dust in the ports or little scratches around the lenses or by certain buttons or again by that lightning port, but otherwise still excellent condition with no scratches on the display either. So yes, Apple wins this category, but it's not by a long stretch, particularly when it comes to price, but we'll talk about that in a sec. Another important thing to note was that the battery health for both phones is 100%. Now, Apple guarantees you have a new battery with your phone. Amazon doesn't specifically guarantee a new battery. I actually looked this up later, and they actually only guarantee a battery health of 80% or above. And having an 80% or say 81% battery health as compared to 100 makes a very big difference. So this will vary from case to case. Perhaps I was lucky and I did get a phone with 100% battery health. So in this case, they do tie. However, if I had to pick between a 100% battery health on say Apple's iPhone or a 81 or even 80 or even 90% battery health, that would make a big difference on the Amazon phone, as this is a big impact on how long your phone is going to last. Speaking of how long your phone is going to last, let's take a look at which phone offers the best warranty. So both phones offer a 1-year warranty, and this is really important. In addition, you also get a 14-day return policy, both with Apple and with Amazon. So if you change your mind, you want to change the color, change whatever, you can return them easily as well. That is very important. Now, the big difference though is that over on Apple, you do have the option to add Apple Care to your phone, and this is a great way to get very affordable repairs. If say you are prone to dropping your phone and you may crack your screen, you get a much more affordable screen replacement as opposed to not having Apple Care. Personally, I don't use Apple Care. I like to have a case on my phone. I think that really does the job with a good screen protector. I recommend the same to you too. But if you are looking for Apple Care, you will only be able to find this on Apple's iPhone. And then lastly, which offers the best value in terms of the price? So again, the prices for the Apple iPhone that I paid here in the UK are £589. So that is around $730 for the 12 Pro from Apple's certified refurbished store compared to £348 or $440 roughly from Amazon. And this means that Amazon's is actually around 40% cheaper than Apple's. And this is a really big difference. And I've got to say, comparing these two phones as I have them in front of me, again, both with 100% battery health, both in excellent condition, albeit even better on Apple's side, I gotta say the Amazon phone definitely gives better value, giving you more phone per dollar. As for which phone I would choose, well, for me, physical condition as well as the battery health really matter, and both phones have scored really high in this category. Again, as I said before, if this Amazon phone were to come with 80% battery health, I would look at this equation very differently. But because it also comes with 100% battery health and the physical condition is still great, and I think the most important things would be the lenses as well as the screen. They have no scratches whatsoever. The condition here is still really great. So in this case, I think if I'm looking for a phone for the next 2 or so years, I would definitely consider looking into Amazon for those significant price savings and those good warranty deals as well. So if say you were to get a phone and it does have a lower battery health or perhaps a little bit more damage than you like, you do have the option to always return it. Where if you are looking for a longer term investment, I would still lean towards Apple, not just for the ability to add Apple Care, but also because you do get a better phone straight out of the box. And this, of course, will mean that it's likely to last longer. Of course, you do also have the option to buy outside of Apple and Amazon. There are so many places online where you can buy refurbished phones. I do think it is important to remember that not all refurbished phones are made the same, and how I think Apple has very high standards when it comes to what you get for a refurbished phone. Again, they completely replace the outside of the phone. They replace the battery as well. Amazon standards are still surprisingly good too. Again, with good condition, they guarantee 80% plus battery health, so not great, but still decent battery health. But many other places online, for example, smaller companies may not give you those same guarantees and may also not give you that 1-year warranty, which for me and my suggestion to you, I would consider this to be essential if you're going to buy a phone anywhere. Even though refurbished iPhones are going to be more affordable than buying them new, it is still massive investments that you're making that you want to last and you want to buy from a reputable source. And in this case, I think buying both from Apple or Amazon is a great way to go. Anyway, I hope this video helped you out. If you are thinking of buying a refurbished iPhone, as always, I will leave all the purchase links down in the description. And if you haven't seen them yet, I highly recommend watching my iPhone first 25 things to do video to get the most out of your new phone. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.